What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here. As always, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me today. Let's talk about a movie. So Scream Legacy is a 2022 fan film written and directed by Zach Salazar. You can actually watch it for free on YouTube right now. It just dropped a couple days ago. Let's go ahead and break it down, and I'm going to give you my complete thoughts on Scream Legacy. So Scream Legacy is a 2022 fan film. It was directed by Zach Salazar, written by Zach Salazar, with additional story credits for Anthony Hernandez and Michael TULA, both of which are actors and who have roles in Scream Legacy as well. In this fan film, set 22 years after the events of Scream 3, the daughter of Sidney Prescott returns to Woodsboro and is terrorized by the new Ghostface killer. In this film's universe, Scream 4 and Scream 5 do not exist. They've been erased. Now, I'm not an expert or a connoisseur of fan films. I've only seen a handful of them. This film wasn't even really on my radar until I saw Drum Dums talk about it just a couple days ago. And I was scrolling through YouTube as you do on Saturday, or at least as I do on Saturday night, because I don't have a life. So I figured, what the hell, I'd check this out and talk about it on the channel. I know there's a lot of huge Scream fans that are just clamoring for something to hold them over until Scream 6 comes out. So I guess for now, this is what we got. With these fan film productions becoming more and more prominent and having impressive production values, they're becoming more and more relevant as far as their prominence and discussion amongst horror fans. Not only are these films a good stepping stone into the business as far as a showcase of these up-and-coming directors' abilities, but it also gives fans a chance to see alternate storylines that are fun to see that we wouldn't get any other way, as well as fan-favorite characters and actors returning to surprise roles, like in the case of Never Hike Alone. We had Tom Matthews returning as Tommy Jarvis. That type of stuff is really cool. The recent 13 Fanboy is also another example of this. It feels like the lines of fan film and studio films are slowly becoming blurred. It's really interesting. If you think about it, all of these big budget studio reboots and sequels are really just fan films themselves, honestly, just on a bigger scale and backed with millions of dollars. Oftentimes not having anybody from these original productions involved anyway. But a film like Scream Legacy does its best and does manage to slide by with a certain charm that certainly deserves at least a one-time watch. I've reviewed the first 4 Scream movies on this channel. I'll link those reviews down below. But as I said in my review for Scream 4, after a certain point, these Scream movies really do follow a certain formula. And as long as you paint by the numbers, it's kind of hard to screw it up. Scream Legacy, like I said, jumps off 22 years after the third film and erases the events of Scream 4 and 5, which is an interesting enough start. In the film, we get a decent enough opening scene. Pretty quickly after that, we're introduced to a handful of new characters, including Sidney's daughter, who's making a return to Woodsboro after some time away. We also meet her best friend and her best friend's new boyfriend, and a couple of detective characters, one of which may have a connection to a previous Ghostface murder. There is also some pretty interesting updates to previous characters in the franchise that were added as Easter eggs to big fans of Scream 3 in particular, which is kind of cool. It is a bit slow at the beginning, but I feel like this is the case because the setup is really just dropping in with Sidney's daughter, and then just a lot of exposition between characters to catch us up to speed. And the movie is also building up and spending a considerable amount of time developing the detective characters as well. We don't know any of these characters, so it is a little tedious to start in the setup, but once the carnage starts, it's actually a pretty damn good time. In my opinion, the actor who portrays Ghostface in the movie, who is named Brandon Lee Abercrombie, by the way, I thought that was kind of funny. He does a good job at mimicking Ghostface movements and portraying him in a pretty authentic way. There's really minimal blood and gore, some CGI blood. Obviously, again, the budget is in play here, so I'm not going to be too hard on that, but they did their best to make the kills interesting, and they're pretty decent. As far as the other performances, they range from bad to pretty decent to okay. When it comes to the 2 main leads, Sidney's daughter and the lead detective character, they're probably the better performers in the movie. Some of the subpar acting pertains to characters who have really very little screen time and are only mildly distracting. It's not a main detriment to the movie. It's kind of crazy, but I actually prefer this killer reveal, this Ghostface reveal, over what they did in Scream 4. I'm comparing it to Scream 4 because this is kind of taking place of Scream 4 in this fan film universe. The reveal is a bit on the nose, and I imagine this idea was even floated by Kevin Williamson at the time, but in this universe, I found it to be a lot of fun. This film isn't overly ambitious, and it really just stays in its lane, and it's a fun tribute to the original trilogy. So when it comes to this movie as a whole, I actually did enjoy this. I wasn't blown away by it, I didn't love it, but as far as a piece of fan fiction, of a fan film, it did a lot of things that I think big fans of the Scream franchise will enjoy. The two lead characters, like I said, do a good job at their roles. I imagine they didn't have much time to shoot. I imagine, of course, that they didn't have much money. So for the time they had to shoot this film, with the budget, I felt like this director really showed that he has potential in the horror space. He did a good job. It's not easy to make a movie. It's very easy for naysayers or haters to see a movie like Scream Legacy and sort of hate on it for its shortcomings. But guys, it is near impossible to make a movie happen. It's a tough, tough job. So the fact that some up-and-coming directors and producers, or what it looks like as a group of friends, I looked at the casts on some of this director's other films, and it looks like he has a little film family. So I'm proud of these guys for getting together, making a movie happen. It's about an hour long. They could have trimmed things here and there. I think they could have brought this under an hour. And I actually think it would have helped script-wise by cutting some redundant lines here and there, especially at the beginning and towards the very end. But overall, I had a good time with this, and it's definitely worth your time. It's only an hour, so check it out. One other interesting thing that I'll note is, like I said, once the movie gets going and the carnage starts, it's a lot of fun. And it does show you, even in this little short film, this fan film, that you don't have to rely on the legacy characters as far as them being in the film. Obviously, being that this is a fan film, Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell and all those guys didn't come back to reprise their roles. You see them in pictures and photo albums and on the wall and stuff like that. And it was effective enough, so I think it does show you that they can eventually quit torturing Sidney in every single one of these official movies and just let Sidney go. It's just kind of what needs to happen. That's just my opinion. I still need to do my Scream 5 review. So support the filmmakers. I think Salazar and his team could really use your support, and I think they deserved it. It's clear they have a passion for Scream, and they have a passion for horror, and I think it is worth your time. If the director and the filmmakers happen to see this review, I hope you don't take any criticism that I said personally. I think you guys did a great job. I'm talking to Mr. Salazar here. You guys did a good job, so I don't want to disparage the movie in any way. But I'm suggesting it. My overall review is positive. Check it out. So, guys, I think we're done here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Check out my other videos. Stay weird. Remember to always be yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.